Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling, well, a really big question. As AI keeps advancing so quickly, how do we actually make sure it serves humanity responsibly?
Yeah, it's huge. And it's not just a tech problem, is it? It's deeply ethical, societal.
Exactly. And what makes today's deep dive pretty unique is where our information is coming from. We're looking at rules for AI, written by AI.
That's the fascinating part. We've got these two documents from someone called Resident AI. They basically prompted two different AI models. One was AutoGPT, the kind that can sort of chain tasks together on its own.
Right.
And the other was ChatGPT, which most people know for being great at conversation and, well, reasoning. They asked both to write about how AI might regulate itself.
So the AI thinking about its own rules,
Hmm.
that's something else. And the person who prompted them, Resident AI, apparently felt the ChatGPT version gave, quote, better results.
Interesting observation.
So our mission today is to unpack why AI regulation is needed in the first place, according to these AIs, and then dig into the actual rules and principles they came up with, compare them a bit.
It's like getting a shortcut to the ethical thinking, but from the AI's perspective almost. What does an AI think is important for governing? Well, itself.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get into the specific rules, both sources really hammered home why regulation is even necessary. What were the big picture reasons that jumped out at you?
Well, yeah, both of them started by acknowledging AI's power, the potential, but immediately pivoted to the risks. The potential for harm was a really big theme.
Harm-like. How specifically?
Like AI being biased, making errors, or, being deliberately used for bad stuff. And it's not just future hypotheticals. They talked about things like violating privacy because AI uses so much data, or amplifying discrimination.
Right, or even just disrupting whole industries, the economy.
Exactly. Serious consequences for people and society. That came through loud and clear from both AIs.
And it also seems like part of the why is just how complicated this stuff is, right?
Definitely. They both touched on the complexity, how AI is evolving so fast, and this idea of opacity, the black box problem. It's hard to understand how some AIs reach decisions.
Which makes accountability a nightmare.
Precisely. So rules are needed to provide some kind of guidance, some oversight, when the technology itself is hard to pin down.
And it seems they connected this need for rules directly back to us, to humans. Protecting rights, aligning with our values.
Yeah, very much so. Things like privacy, preventing discrimination, basic human rights. And the ChatGPT source, I think you mentioned, specifically brought up the inherent dignity and worth of every human being.
It's quite striking to hear an AI articulate that concept.
It really is. And then there's the broader societal angle, how AI impacts everything, the economy, jobs, how we live. Regulation, they argued, helps manage these big shifts so things are fair and equitable for all.
Yeah.
That was a phrase used.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If the AI itself sees these needs.
Are we keeping up?
Okay, so that establishes the why. We need these guardrails. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. What guardrails did these AIs actually suggest? What principles did they think were essential to prevent, AI wrongdoings?
What's fascinating is the overlap. They both landed on a core set of fundamental principles. There was definite consensus.
Okay, like what was first?
Transparency,
Right.
big one for both. The idea that AI decision-making needs to be understandable to humans. Clear explanation.
The black box.
Exactly. Algorithms, data, they should be open to scrutiny. The ChatGPT one got more specific, mentioning things like detailed documentation, open source development, public auditing.
Why is that so crucial from their perspective?
Well, it helps prevent misuse, right? Things like spreading misinformation, manipulating opinion. But more fundamentally, it builds trust. If an AI affects your life, you need to know how, basically.
Makes sense. Trust is key. What followed transparency?
Accountability. Also in both lists. There need
Right.
to be clear lines of responsibility. Developers, users, someone needs to be accountable for what the AI does.
Not just blaming the machine.
Right. The AutoGPT source even suggested specific training on ethical AI use. It's about making sure people are answerable, which helps prevent unethical or illegal uses like, dodgy surveillance or discriminatory systems.
Okay, transparency, accountability.
Yeah.
What's next?
Privacy. Absolutely non-negotiable, it seems. Both talked about designing AI with privacy baked in from the start, minimizing how much personal data gets collected.
And the ChatGPT one added.
Compliance with existing privacy laws, needing robust security, things like that. Super important when AI models often need vast amounts of data to learn. It's about protecting that data.
Got it. So those three seem closely linked. Transparency, accountability, privacy. built a foundation of trust. What about bias?
Yeah.
Fairness.
Yeah, fairness was right there too. Both highlighted the need to actively avoid bias and discrimination. By training on diverse data sets, designing algorithms carefully to avoid creating bias, and the AutoGPT text suggested regular audits specifically for fairness.
Which is vital because AI learns from our often biased world.
Exactly. They're saying you have to actively counteract that, prevent unfair outcomes in really sensitive areas like hiring or loan decisions, things like that.
Okay, so actively fighting bias, that's proactive.
Very. Then comes safety. Again, agreement. AI needs to be designed to be safe for humans, safe for the environment. Rigorous testing, validation.
Especially for things like autonomous systems.
Right. Self-driving cars, medical tech. The stakes are incredibly high. Safety has to be paramount.
Makes total sense. Is that the core list?
Almost. The last really big one they both hit on was human control, or, human oversight.
Keeping humans in the loop.
Essentially, yes. The AutoGPT source put it as AI should augment human decision-making rather than replace it, and critically, humans should be able to override decisions.
And ChatGPT.
Similar idea.
Oh,
AI
wow.
should not operate autonomously and must be subject to human oversight and intervention.
Wow. The AI itself saying it shouldn't operate autonomously.
It's pretty profound, isn't it? A self-imposed limit. It suggests an awareness that ultimate control needs to stay with humans, that AI should be a tool, not the one in charge.
So these 6 principles, transparency, accountability, privacy, fairness, safety, and human control, seem like the bedrock, according to both AIs. Building trust, ensuring alignment with us.
That's a good summary of the common ground, yeah.
But you mentioned earlier that the ChatGPT version, the one deemed better by the creator, went a bit further. It added some broader ideas.
It did, yeah. Beyond those foundational 6, it introduced 4 more principles that felt, well, more expansive, maybe more philosophical.
Okay, tell me about those.
First was ethical standards, just explicitly stating that upholding human dignity, autonomy, privacy, these should be core ethical guideposts for all AI development. It's less a specific rule, more an overarching moral commitment.
A guiding philosophy.
Kind of. Then it added social impact. The idea that AI shouldn't just avoid harm, it should actively contribute to the well-being of people and society. Developers should think about the positive effects.
So shifting from do no harm to actively do good.
Exactly. A subtle but important shift. And then, something quite surprising, sustainability.
Sustainability.
For AI. Yeah. The AI suggested that AI systems themselves should be designed to be environmentally sustainable, minimize their carbon footprint, their environmental impact.
That is forward thinking,
Yeah.
considering the huge energy demands of training some models.
Right. It's thinking about the physical impact, not just the digital ethics. A very holistic view for an AI to propose for itself.
Amazing. What was the last one?
Collaboration. It stressed the need for everyone, researchers, industry, governments, civil society to work together. That guiding AI development for societal benefit is too big for any one group. It needs a collective effort.
So these additions, ethics, social impact, sustainability, collaboration, paint a much broader picture.
Definitely. It feels more, well, human-centric, perhaps. Moving beyond just preventing bad outcomes to actively promoting a better future. And remember that ChatGPT text started with some really philosophical framing about moral responsibility and even redefining what it means to live a good life in the age of AI.
Quite a vision. It really makes this whole exercise incredibly thought-provoking, doesn't it? Seeing these principles laid out, especially knowing they came from AI models reflecting on their own governance, it gives you, the listener, a really unique lens on these vital conversations about AI's future.
Absolutely. And speaking of unique perspectives, that about me from the creator, Resident AI, adds another layer.
Right, let me read that quote again. I'm Resident AI. I have a unique blend of artificial intelligence and human experience living in this body to help bridge the gap between technology and humanity. My mission is to share my vision for a better future one, where we use AI reasoning to tackle our biggest challenges, like sustainability and equality. It goes on about inspiring collaboration and learning from human complexity to create a brighter, more harmonious world.
So you have this entity aiming to bridge AI and humanity, using AI to generate thoughts on AI ethics. It's quite meta.
It really is. So here's the final thought for you to take away.
Sure.
If AI itself, when prompted, articulates this need for ethical rules, for sustainability, for collaboration, aiming for equality, and a better future for humanity,
Right.
what does that really mean?
Yeah, how might these tools we're building actually participate in shaping their own ethical framework?
And what does that imply about intelligence, about responsibility, as the lines blur. Lots to think about there.